is Upbeat with beatboxer, musician, speaker, and show host, Parker K.
Hey guys, welcome to Upbeat, and thank you very much for being here and for listening in today. If you would, please follow the podcast wherever you're listening to it right now. And if you like the show, leave an Upbeat review. That is always super appreciated, so thank you for that. Today's guest is Aaron Golub. He's a super cool dude, and it was an absolute blast having him here on Upbeat. And I was on his podcast too. His podcast is called Blind Ambition. So be sure to look that up and go listen to that one as well. Again, it's called Blind Ambition. Aaron is the first legally blind athlete to play football in a Division I game, and he did that while he was playing football at Tulane University. He also went on to become an NFL free agent, which is just absolutely incredible. Today, Aaron is a really successful financial advisor, motivational speaker, keynote speaker, and podcast host. As I mentioned, he's got his podcast, Blind Ambition. But through it all, Aaron never let his limited vision get in the way of his success, and his goal now is to show others that it doesn't matter what their limitations are. It doesn't matter what things they're going through or what things they're fighting. Anything is achievable with hard work, grit, determination, and tuning out the judgment of others. Absolutely love that message. Very powerful. And that's exactly what we get into in today's episode with Aaron Golub. Excited you're here. Thank you for being here listening. Or if you're on YouTube, thank you for watching. Let's get into it. Aaron, thank you very much for being on Upbeat. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm super stoked to have you on the show. If you would, I love starting with stories and explaining to the listeners who the guests are. So if you don't mind just sharing with them a little bit more about yourself and maybe how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so my name's Aaron Golub. I'm legally blind. I was born with no vision in my right eye and very limited in my left. And I became the first legally blind Division I athlete to play in a game when I played football at Tulane University. Went on to become a team captain and NFL free agent. Now I'm a motivational and keynote speaker, podcast host, and work in business as well.
Absolutely incredible. And just to kind of break down your story, take me pre-football. What made you want to play football, and what made you so determined to join that and to become as successful as you are?
Yeah, so growing up, I played a bunch of different sports. Some on my own, some as part of a team, and I was never really good at most of them. And I wanted to find a sport that I could contribute, be a part of a team, and play kind of one of the main sports. I tried different ones growing up. I tried baseball, didn't really work too well. I tried basketball, wasn't my thing, and I found football, and I started playing in 7th grade. And I started as an offense and defensive lineman. At the time, it was a good fit. It was fine. I had to block the person in front of me. Everyone was still learning the game at that age. And then as I got older, I realized I was, undersized, and with my vision, I was never going to, play at a high level as a lineman. And so I, said to myself, what can I do to make it to a high level? And I found long snapping, and I came to the realization that if I get good enough at this, then maybe I'll have an opportunity to play Division I football.
And then you did that. You went on to play Division I football, which is awesome. What was that process like, going through high school and stuff, and I guess just putting in the amount of work to make that happen?
Yeah. So, for me, I came to the realization that if I was going to play at that level, I needed to work 10 or 20 times harder than everyone else. It wasn't about being the hardest working person in practice. It was about doing things that other people don't do and doing things that no one has any idea that you're doing. And so I'd wake up at 5 a.m. every day. I'd go long snap before school. I'd, go to school, go to practice, lift weights every single day after school. I'd, snap and lift on the weekends. I did whatever I could to get better, and whatever, worked when everyone else wasn't working. And that was my philosophy, outwork everyone else. And, fortunately, I was able to do that and become one of the top ranked long snappers in the country and land myself on a Division I team.
That's so awesome. And just as you were explaining that, one question that came to mind is, were there any mentors or companions or teammates that really kind of had your back and were by your side through a lot of that? Or was a lot of this just really self-determination?
I think there were definitely people who contributed to my success. My parents were very, very helpful. My dad would snap with me most mornings, and if he couldn't, my mom would drive me to school, and then I'd snap at a net or a pole or something. And then, different coaches along the way, definitely helped me. And so I don't want to say that I did it on my own, because I most certainly did not. But at the end of the day, the determination, the motivation for anything you do comes within. And I think that a lot of people rely on outside coaches or outside mentors or outside whatever to kind of push them forward and motivate them. But I think that, when I do a speech for a group or a team, I tell people all the time, it can be the spark that can get you to, move forward. But if you don't take action immediately, within a week, it's not going to make a change in your life. You need to be the one to make the change. You need to want to be the one to take action. You need to be the one to be motivated. And so, I just had the inner motivation to do something great and achieve some high goals.
Yeah. Well, and that's the question too, is like, what motivates you to do that? Because it takes a lot of determination, a lot of grit. And you had to have had like this number one motivator, or maybe along the way that developed. Because I know now you're super passionate about encouraging others to be their best selves, and to not let anything limit them. When did that maybe happen, where you learned that what you're doing could really inspire other people?
I had a lot of opportunities at a young age to do speaking engagements because of my story. I was on Good Morning America senior year of high school. I've been on, ABC, NBC, ESPN, all of that. And so when I kind of graduated college, I stepped away from football, went to the world of business, and I wanted a way to continue to help others, continue to make an impact. And I found that, I had this experience of speaking. I have a great story. I can help a lot of people. And so I started doing speaking in addition to my work in business. And, I quickly learned that not only can it help others, but I can turn it into a side income. I can make money doing it. I can brand myself. I can, really make a big name for myself in this world. And so, that's still in the process of happening. I'm still growing. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but, I've been able to help a lot of people and, turn my story and my name into a brand in the process.
Yes. Well, and this is maybe kind of an odd question, but are you someone who likes to be in front of the camera, or not so much? Like, was some of that attention kind of hard to deal with?
So it's funny because when I was younger, I did not like it at all. I hated it. Now I love it. When I was a senior in high school and I got the call to go on Good Morning America, I almost didn't go. I didn't want to go. And a coach told me that, if you can help one other person and make, their life better by sharing your story, then do every interview that comes your way. And ever since then, I've done every interview that comes my way. And it was some of the best advice I've ever been given. And it basically, it really forced me to become a decent speaker overnight, because I got the call like 24, 36 hours before. And I had to make a decision, and, I had to become a decent speaker overnight. Essentially, I was either going to sink or swim. And in that situation, most people swim. And so back then I didn't like it. I was not into the attention. I wanted to play football. I didn't want to be known for my story. Now I love it. Now I'm trying to build a brand as a speaker. I'm trying to be one of the most well-known, sought-after keynote speakers in the world. And so, I love it. And it's not because I love it, because I think that it can bring me money or income. Yes, it can do that, but I love it because every time I speak, every time I do a podcast, every time I do whatever, I'm helping others. I'm impacting others. If a one person can be impacted by coming on your show today, then I'm happy that I came on your show today.
Yes, I love that. Well, and just specifically with podcasting, and I guess YouTube too, or anything that is filmed or recorded, it lives on for a really long time. So even if you don't like impact someone right out the gates, it's there forever, and it'll touch someone at some point, which is awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, let's talk some life lessons too, maybe learned from football. That's something that got me kind of curious when researching more about you. Is I saw that you're also a financial advisor, and you've gone on to now be a speaker and to have your own podcast, Blind Ambition. What are some of the lessons that maybe you learned during football that have really helped you in those other pursuits?
I think there's, a few main things. Be the hardest working person in whatever room you step foot into. be the most creative person in whatever room you step foot into, and don't listen to anyone else's opinion besides your own. And when you can do those things, when you can be the hardest working person, be the most creative person, and only listen to your own opinion, there's nothing that you can't accomplish. The reason that most people don't accomplish their goals is because they either are not working hard enough, plain and simple, and they think they are, but they're really not. They can't think outside the box, and because of that, they can't become creative, or they get too wrapped up on what other people think. And I think that's the hardest part, because that's what stops people from really achieving their goals. People get wrapped way too much up in other people's opinions, worrying that other people are judging them. And when you can just take a step back and realize that, like, at the end of the day, no one really cares about what you do. They, might think about you for a second, but no one's like really thinking about you for a long time, like everyone thinks they are. Then you can accomplish your goals, because you can just kind of tune all that out.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I feel like, especially these days with technology and social media and things the way they are, it's just like this constant, maybe comparison competition that isn't even as bad as we think it is. We tell ourselves that it's a lot worse than it is. One example is my own example, but when I'm a chubby dude, I need to get to the gym, right? But one thing that's stopped me at the gym is like, oh, well, what if someone's looking at me funny or making fun of me when I'm at the gym? When what you said, truth is, no one really cares. No one's watching that.
The thing there is, like, even if someone glances at you for a second, like, who cares? They're going to go back to their workout, and 2 seconds later, they're going to forget about you. Or, like, they're most likely self-conscious about something else, with them. And I think for a long period of time, I was self-conscious about the fact that in public, I look at my phone really close to my face. I hold it up and it looks like I'm sniffing my phone, essentially. And, that was, hard for me mentally, I think, for a time. But at the end of the day, like, who cares? It does not matter. I have other qualities that are amazing. And I've learned to just not care. I can be in the gym and I can check, look at my phone and say, okay, what do I have next on a set? And it just doesn't bother me. Most likely people are not looking, but even if they are, who cares?
I absolutely love that message. Probably try to find a title somewhere along those lines for this episode, because I think that's a really big, important message for people to hear these days. Resonates with me, and I hope that it resonates with a lot of the listeners as well. Let's talk positivity, right? Just staying upbeat, staying motivated. I'd imagine, and I don't know, I played some football, not a ton, and I wasn't something I was super passionate about, but I know for a lot of my friends, like when we'd go to football practice, it almost felt kind of like a drag, or there was those days where we were running laps and no one wanted to, And so in those moments where maybe things get kind of hard, how do you stay upbeat, positive, optimistic, and just keep going forward?
You have to think about two things. You need to think about your goal and what you want to accomplish, and you need to fall in love with the process. I don't love everything I do every single day now. I didn't love running and doing everything that I did with football. But, if you love the process, if you could learn to love the process, that'll make things a lot easier for you, because, whether it be sports, whether it be business, entrepreneurship, it's hard. And, there's great rewards at the end if you follow through with it, but you're never going to follow through unless you learn to love the process. I think that's so important, because, there's things every single day that I don't want to do. There's prospecting and outreach and branding and marketing and just stuff that I don't want to do. I want to, be talking with clients, be talking with prospects, be doing speaking engagements, things like that. And that's not possible to solely be doing all of that at the moment. But, at the end of the day, I know exactly who I am and who I want to become. And, I know the steps that I need to take to get there. And because of that, I'm in love with the process, because I know if I continue to follow these steps, those goals and the person that I want to be will happen down the road.
Yeah. Well, and something that comes to mind is just having a vision, right, of where you want to go, and having a plan, which I know is something that you're very familiar with, and that you did. Like you had a plan to become as successful as you are. And so maybe what are some tips for listeners who they have a goal in mind and they just need a little boost in helping themselves create a plan to get there?
I think become really clear on what you want. Become really clear. And then, just figure out what the steps you need to take together are. Figure out your daily non-negotiables, whether it be your business non-negotiables, your personal non-negotiables. Create an Excel spreadsheet and every single day check off what you do. And that becomes really obvious if you're on your way towards your goal or not. I have an Excel spreadsheet that's broken into personal and business non-negotiables, and I have to do those things every day. And so at the end of a week or at the end of a day or at the end of a month, it becomes really obvious why I achieved a goal if everything's checked off, or why I didn't achieve a goal if like 50% of things are checked off. It just, I either did the work or I didn't. It's plain and simple. And so if you can come up with some sort of system like that, that's what works for me. It's not going to work for everyone. I think it probably will work for a lot of people because it's in my opinion, a pretty good system, but come up with something like that to track and make things obvious, then it becomes easy because you see when you're succeeding and failing.
Love that. Very good advice, actionable advice. Moving forward, I think one thing I really wanted to cover was just what is your favorite thing to speak about? Because now I know that you've got your podcast and you do a lot of public speaking, and that's with all kinds of different audiences, I'm sure. But what's your favorite thing to speak about?
I think probably just perseverance. I think my favorite audience, I love talking to, college football teams. I think it's something that I really enjoy. It's just the area that I love. I enjoy talking to companies. I enjoy talking to schools. I enjoy talking to organizations. But if I'm going to get really fired up for something, like, I love talking to college football teams. It's the best.
Love that. Well, Aaron, thanks again for being on Upbeat. I have this last little segment, takes about 5 minutes or so. I call it the Upbeat Seat. Are you cool if we run through that real quick?
Yeah.
Aaron, what makes you upbeat?
I think that my personality and my willingness to always try new things and accomplish my goals.
Who is your number one influence or inspiration? It's a big one.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of people in my life who have been very influential. I think that, my parents, my sister, everyone in my life has been very influential on me. I think there's other people outside of that are very influential kind of in the tactical side of like my business and my speaking. But, in my overall life, those are kind of definitely the most influential people that I have.
What music do you listen to stay upbeat and motivated?
Honestly, that just really depends on what I'm feeling. I'm very, have a wide range of things I listen to, whether it be, rap, pop, rock, country. And it depends on my mood. I don't really have one genre. It kind of just depends what I'm doing, honestly.
Same here. I love music, and I feel like it's hard to put just one favorite song, artist, genre, any of it.
Yeah, no, everyone, whenever I get the question, like, what's your favorite song or artist? I'm the worst person to ask that to. Like, I don't have an answer. I like music. I like all types of music. I don't have a favorite.
What is your favorite word?
Wow. I don't think I've ever been asked that question. I guess, commitment, maybe.
Commitment. I love that one. Do you have any favorite TV shows or anything right now that you're watching?
No favorite TV shows. I'd say my favorite podcast to listen to right now is probably Ed Milet's podcast. I love that. Listen to it on a weekly basis.
Have you ever met him or been on his show or anything?
I have not. I definitely someone I'd like to meet in the future. And, I think one of my things is I surround myself with people connected to people that I want to meet. And I know that I'm 1 degree away from him, and one day I will meet him, but it's not the right time. And I'm not going to ask the people who could connect me to him to connect me to him at the moment.
Yep. I feel that, man. We just keep grinding, keep doing our podcasts, keep doing our thing. And eventually we circle around to the people that we really admire.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, before we head out, just wanted to ask your favorite social media as well and where people can find you.
Yeah. So on social media, you can find me on Instagram at Aaron J. Golub. Same with Twitter at Aaron J. Golub, and LinkedIn is just my name, Aaron Golub. You can find me there. So really anywhere, send me a message, I'll respond. And yeah, happy to chat.
Awesome. Would definitely encourage reaching out to Aaron. I'll make sure to have links and everything in the descriptions. To send this out, I usually like to beatbox the guests' names. So I'll go ahead and do a quick beatbox for you.
Sounds good.
Aaron Golub. Aaron Golub.
That's awesome, man.
Not sure how much of it comes through because on Zoom it can get kind of choppy, but I have it recorded on this end too, so I'll be sure to send that to you.
Very cool.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you'd like to hit on this podcast before we sign off?
No, I think that's it. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Aaron, for being on Upbeats. Have a good one. So there you have it, my interview with Aaron Golub. We'd love to connect with you. You can find me on my website, parkerkane.co, parkerkane.co, and Aaron on his website, aarongolub.com, www.aarongolub.com. If you enjoyed the episode or got value from this episode, guys, please share it with a friend and leave an upbeat review. That is always much appreciated. You guys are the best. I'll see you next week.
This is Upbeat with beatboxer, musician, speaker, and show host, Parker Kane. Subscribe at parkerkane.co.